Well, welcome to the second episode of the Chestnut Bookcase, a podcast by a chess book nutcase. Now, I introduced the goals and the ethos of this podcast in our first episode, in which we interviewed Vishnu Warrior about his book, The Chess Bible. And I thought that was an enormously enjoyable conversation. So do go back and give that a listen if you are new to this podcast. And chances are you are new, as we are really just getting off the ground. And our guest today has written a book I enormously enjoyed, and I'm frankly surprised it isn't being spoken about all over the place, unless I've missed it, of course. But I'm looking forward to talking about that. I'm Chris Tilling, your host. I'm a doctor of theology, a senior lecturer in New Testament studies, and I also co-host a theology-related podcast entitled On Script. But nobody cares about that today. I am first and foremost, for this podcast, a chess book nutcase. I've amassed, over a couple of decades, a library of hundreds of chess volumes. And once again, please don't tell my wife that. From classic texts to the latest publications. And today, in our second episode, I'm thrilled to be joined by Jana Krivec, author of the incredible book, Improve Your Life by Playing a Game. And last time I didn't flash my copy of the book, but here it is. I don't know if the light is favorable here. No, it's not really zooming in for me. It's a little bit blurry. But this is a remarkably practical and enriching guide that transcends the boundaries of chess by exploring how playing chess can enhance life skills and personal growth. Dr. Jana Krivec's unique background as a chess GM and psychologist with a focus on cognitive processing of information, at least in a doctorate, means that she is ideally placed to examine how the psychological processes involved in chess can be applied to everyday challenges. Now, throughout this enriching and groundbreaking book, we encounter autobiographical insights, practical guidance, expert psychological knowledge to show how chess strategies like goal setting, self examination, persistence can be translated into tools for life. This is 100% better than almost any self help book I've read, and it is written to appeal both to chess players and non chess players, offering valuable lessons for all of life. In fact, she's even got these little asterisks throughout next to, this is for chess players. Honestly, for chess players, the psychological insights alone are worth the read, but then you get all of the chess content as well. And I've got to say this has to be one of the most enjoyable chess books I've ever read. It's a beautifully produced book, incredibly well typeset. It's beautiful to read. So a little bit more on our guest today, Dr. Jana Krivec. Am I saying that right?
Correctly.
Have I pronounced that correctly?
Well done. Good job.
Yes, come on. She's Doctor of Psychology, Assistant Professor at School of Advanced Social Studies in Slovenia. She's the head of the National Institute for Psychosocial Support and Psychosocial Counselling. She's a chess GM, 7-time Slovenian women champion, 22 years member of the Slovenian national team, played in 11 Olympiads. Astonishing. Jana, a warm welcome to the
Thank you,
Chestnut
Chris.
Bookcase.
Thank you for inviting me for this beautiful introduction and for recognizing my work as interesting. It means so much to me. To make one reader happy makes the effort worth. Yeah, thank you.
Now, as I said to Jana before we started recording, I have a neighbour's cat next to me who's very affectionate and so may jump up at some stage and purr insanely, but the cute factor is worth it, I think. Now, let me then begin. As the previous, I've got some opening moves, middle game, confessional booth before we turn to the end game. That's how we're structuring the podcasts anyway. So let's begin with opening moves. Jana, can you share the moment or experience when you first got into chess? What was it about chess that drew you in, that grabbed you?
I don't know if I can define a particular moment. But the whole process of playing chess captivated me. Yeah, the beginnings were more about having fun. I will admit it, but it should be like this. Yeah, young children should not just do the play chess as to consider it as work, but yeah, to have fun.
Hmm.
So I played chess with my father, and when I beat him, we went out for pizza or to buy a new dress, and that was really uh, excited. And when I started to play, I was yeah, quite good quickly, and so to see new places, meet new people at the tournaments was really fun for me. But okay, later on, the game itself played the main role in my motivation. And I have to admit that I also like this competitive part. Of course, it's yeah, not nice to lose, and this possibility to lose is very stressful. But the possibility to win is really, really excited. It's like yeah, not really a
Yeah,
gambling, but gambling is something that is very addictive. You don't know if you will win or lose, so it has a bit of
yeah,
this sporty
yeah,
part. I like to compete and yeah,
yeah,
challenge myself in this direction.
yeah. Yeah, I can very much relate to that, even from my own limited and humble chess skills.
Mm.
Sacrificing a queen or something like that in an
Mm.
over the board game,
Yeah,
the adrenaline's rushing.
you
It's
can't
so much
imagine
fun.
that chess
Now,
can
there
do
was
that.
one thing.
So much adrenaline.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you
This
buzzing
calm
with
game
that kind of thing, an
on the
exchange
surface and
skill.
so much going
Yeah,
on under
yeah,
the
yeah.
sea. Mhm.
Now you discuss your chess style in the book, and I liked very much how you made the case that chess style reflects your personality. I spent quite a lot of time thinking about that. I know this isn't in the notes that I sent you, but since I've really been pondering that, I decided to do the personality test that you recommend in one of the first chapters, and I filled out everything I could, and then I pondered the openings that I play as a result, and there was a mismatch. I
Mm.
think I'm someone who likes boundaries. I'm not a risk taker necessarily, and yet all of the openings that I was learning were all gambits and aggressive, and so it's actually made me think maybe I need to change
Mhm.
my openings entirely. It was a really fun experience. I went to Chat GPT and I put in the results for my personality test, and I said, which openings do you think would
Give
best suit me?
the
It's worthwhile doing, people. But in the book anyway, you do note that your style, you talk about your style. Maybe you could describe it. Has it evolved over time? What aspects of your chess style reflect
Mhm.
your
Yeah,
personality?
first of all, as you said, sometimes you don't really consider openings that would suit your personality. Sometimes the trainer knows some openings and he just somehow pass it to you, and then you just take it as your own. But you might be better chess player if you chose some other openings.
Yeah.
And personality does not only reflect through the openings or game itself, but if you are very
Mm.
conscientious, you can work more on the openings. So just take openings that are more complex, bigger. There's more theory. If you are more open to new experiences, just go to a new, change a lot of openings. So have a broader
Yeah.
repertoire. So
Yeah.
things like that. It's broader than it seems on the first at the first glance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the personality is something that, in general, doesn't completely change through life. Yeah, it changes a bit, but
Yeah.
a person is the same, the same one through
Yeah.
um, his life. So yeah, I'm. Once I had a funny moment. It was an end game, and I started to attack with the pawns. I wanted to give mate. I mean, that's what I'm searching in the position. I want to give mate. And one Slovenian GM said, "Okay, you are crazy. You would like to give mate even if there were only kings left on the board." So, um, yeah, I have this attacking style, and if I'm stuck with a position where nothing is going on, I mean, some positional style where you need to kind of stay at the same place and be
Mm.
very patient and do small steps. I have problems with that. So I need some action, and I will try to make
Yeah.
it, even if it's not the best way of treating that
Yeah.
position. Um, yeah, so okay, now I'm actually losing my style because I don't play chess so much. So they said that I'm no, people are moving the pieces, the wooden pieces. So maybe I'm
Mhm.
close to that phase. But okay, yeah, once a chess player, you're always a chess player with a particular style, but it's different how involved you are on a daily basis
Yeah.
um, in chess. Yeah, so it evolves with training, with amount of energy dedicated to chess. When I last played European Team Championship 2 years ago, I struggled with my openings because when at my peak, I played not the main openings, but side openings. But nowadays, with computers and everything, I could not use that anymore. So I wanted
I see.
my
I
coach
see.
said, the team captain said, okay, play b3, the first move, and play chess. But again, it's not so easy to do that. Um,
Mm.
so you need to be flexible and adjust to different things on your chess path,
Mm.
chess career. Um, you're evolving as a
Yeah.
person, then the chess itself is evolving, changing. Computers are intruding
Yeah.
chess,
Yeah.
so you cannot stay still. As in life, being still doesn't mean that you will
Yeah.
stay there, but that you will stay behind. You will not go on with the flow. So you always need to evolve. You always need to do something
Yeah.
on your growth.
Well, you've certainly challenged
Mhm.
me to do that. I mean, I've tended to play a Sicilian or sharp e5s against e4 or a King's Indian set up against d4. Since reading your book, for the first time, in fact, recently, I've just started learning the Caro Can, or rather knight f6, e6 setups against
Mhm.
d4, c4, semi Tarash, and that sort of thing, with the idea that it's going to approximate better to my character, but it's also
Mhm.
keeping me flexible. I've not touched the Caro Can before, so this is, except obviously playing against it, but this is a lot of
Yeah,
fun to
of
grow, right?
course.
To be
I mean,
flexible.
gaining new information. Okay, new opening means that you learn something new about chess playing.
Yes.
Yeah, it will
Yeah. Yeah.
help you being better chess player in other positions as well. So yeah, gaining
Yeah.
information.
What is it
Mhm.
about chess that keeps you coming back? What is it that makes you most passionate about chess? I mean, you talk about this in the book, but what is it that is the thing that keeps you coming back? Is it the strategy, the competition, something deeper?
I mean, I think that every chess player wants know the game in depth, that it just somehow grabs you. It has a lot of
Mm.
things. You can create through chess. You can create your own story. You can put yourself through the game of chess. You can show some of your potentials, something that your inner content. um, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great mixture. of art, of sport, of science. Um, it triggers very interesting things, like it triggers a person to be objective, it triggers a person to uh, control the initial excitement, and to master that is something that is very satisfactional, and something that
Yeah.
gives you, yeah, a lot of joy, and something
Yeah.
that drives you to come back and back, and you miss it, yeah. Uh,
Yeah. What an astonishing response that you can really. I mean, you're right, but it's. I've not heard it put like that before. You said something like you can you put yourself into it and
yeah,
you can
yeah,
express yourself
yeah, we are
through the
kind of
game.
artists, right,
Mm.
to create the perfect.
Yeah.
Even one move, one combination can be very aesthetic. It's like an art, it's beautiful
Yeah.
for just just it's
Truly.
really
Yeah.
beautiful. It makes a certain emotions appear in a person, yeah.
Mm.
Then okay, you need to be courageous to do some moves, we're like soldiers in a way, yeah. um,
Yeah.
the game itself at the moment is real for a chess player, and if you sacrifice a pawn,
Mm.
it's gone,
Yeah.
and the pawn has the value for a chess player, and you sacrifice something, you need to give
Yeah.
up um, on something to gain something more important. So
Mm.
setting priorities, understanding what is important um, in game in life is something that yeah, it's difficult, and the one good game as a whole is like you complete some path that
Mm.
consists of many small, meticulously thought out steps. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a creation, yeah. It's intense creation on a very short amount of time. You create something that consists of
Yeah. Yeah.
previous work, your thoughts, your mental strength, and a lot of things needs to be included in that moment of time,
Yeah.
in that creation.
Beautiful. Well, there's a lot there. I entirely agree. The creativity, the competition, so much there. I suppose the flip question, and it's one I'm pondering at the moment quite a lot, is about losing and how you deal with losses. I've been trying to teach my kids chess, and I'm not forcing it on them, but the things that really knock them back sometimes are the losses. Obviously, I mean I've got two young kids, but how do you overcome uh, losses? How what have you learned as a psychologist that help you navigate that space?
Losses are difficult. There's no question about that for everyone, because it hits your self esteem, it hits your core, who you are as a
Hmm.
person. Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
not capable, some might think. Yeah. If you lose, you're not capable of fulfilling your expectations, the expectations of your parents. Who am I as a person if I keep losing? And I don't want. I tried not to. Um, I lost 5 games in a row once. Yeah, we have expressions.
Yes, you
We have,
you
yeah,
talked about this in
yeah,
the book, didn't
small
you? Yeah.
castle. Then we have big castle. Then we have Audi, like a car, and then we have Olympiad. We have expressions. How many consecutive losses you have in a row, and it's difficult to come back, of course, for everyone. There's no doubt about it. But the beauty of
Yeah.
chess is that you need to learn that failure, if we take loss as a failure, is inevitable in life, in being expert in particular domain. You cannot avoid losing. You will not start uh, doing something and be expert, be the best. No, you need to experience losses, and attitude toward losses, toward failure, is very important for the success, to be successful. If you see it as something devastating, then you will never be top expert. If you
Yeah.
see it as a step toward success, then you are on a good path. And so your
Yeah.
perspective toward failures, I think, is a good prediction how successful you will be. It's a very important element of
Yeah.
being successful, and also how how you argument, how you see the causes of the loss. Okay, when you lose, you can say,
Mm.
I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I do everything bad.
Yeah. I'm an
Yeah.
idiot.
So you
Self-berating.
generalize, you predict the future as, you know, everything will be the same all the time for everything. We cannot change things. I am a loser and this will continue to be so. And everything that I will start to do will be a disaster. So, yeah, quite
Hmm.
a fixated view that cannot be repaired or changed. And then you lose motivation. You um, step away from challenges because you are predicting that you will not be successful, and it just, it's a
Mm.
spiral. But if you say, okay, why I lost, I prepared badly this time, he surprised me, I was not well prepared for this opening. Okay, I have to work more on it's information. You can, Capablanca said that you can learn more from one lost game than from 300 games won. So you can get valuable information for your progress from losses.
Yeah.
And okay, you know that you can do better. You search for proof that you have these values. You are a good chess player. You've won games before. It can be different in the future. What you can do to repair things for the future. And here, not only chess players themselves, but also trainers and parents. Parents are also quite important. Not to put pressure, but
Mm.
pressure is not necessarily on an explicit way. It can be very implicit.
Mm.
So a person can value themselves only if they achieve something. Otherwise, they are not loved, they are not competent, and
Mm.
parents should be educated in this well, this part as well. It's very
Yeah. Yeah.
important for career development. We can see
Yeah.
now Prague, for example. His mom is there with him all the time, but
Yeah.
I read an interview. And I don't know, with him, I guess, he said that they never speak about chess. He's just there for, for love and support. Him and his sister, they don't
Yeah.
speak about chess. I also had the opportunity to speak with Polgar, and she had this distinct role between her father and her mother, and but the mother was the stable pillar, how to say, of love and affection, some
Mm.
safe spot to go to, and not being um, not speaking about why you didn't play that move. Okay, so you could have played that. Why you didn't? What happened? No, something happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you need support at
Yeah.
a particular moment after the game. You cannot always think about why you didn't do something. Yeah. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
schedule that is there is optimal schedule for giving the information about chess, for giving the support, for maybe more broad evaluation of your game. and so on. Something is happening immediately after the game, something is happening during the tournament, something is happening after the tournament. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
there needs to be the balance between positive information and like critics. You need to emphasize what is good as well. We often forget that. We only say, okay, you
Hmm.
need to improve that, you need to do more
Hmm.
on this element, but you are good at this and you're good at that. So that the person gets the
Yeah.
whole image, not just, okay, I'm not good at this. So, the generalization is
Hmm.
more likely to appear in this way. Mm.
I see. Yeah. Very helpful. Now, improve your life by playing a game. Let's think a little bit more about the book. Was there a key moment or realization that inspired you to write the book?
Again, not one key moment, but many moments where I saw already during the study of psychology, I saw theoretical concepts when a professor spoke about it that we are incorporating when we're playing chess. And
Mm.
I was constantly realizing how chess is a good tool, good mean for um, putting psychological concepts into practice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how to incorporate the theory, the procedures, yeah, into practical exercises, because it's complex, it has
Yeah.
these rules, um, and after all, it's a game, and it's easy to train things. It's easier to train things through a game than through life, and game that is, as we said, concentrated.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot in a
Yeah.
rather short amount amount of time. So yeah, and I think nowadays it's not about learning data, reproducing data, but it's very important to have these generic skills that you can apply to many different life domains. And chess
Yeah.
gives you really a nice opportunity for the development of these 21st
Yeah.
century
Yeah.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you demonstrate
Mm.
that in abundance in the book. As you reflect on the book, what are you most proud of? Are there any specific chapters or ideas that felt like a particular
Mm.
breakthrough for you?
Well, now I see mostly, I will not say mistakes, but opportunity for improvements. um, but yeah, in general, I am proud. I would say on the structure, on the main idea of the book, and on the structure of the book. Originally, I wanted to write this classical book, just text, and I'm lucky that I am a person who likes to have conversation about work that I'm doing, and I have one friend, Matej Guid, who is also a chess player and professor at university on AI, and he said, "Okay, come on, it's a good book." But just make it readable for this 21st century. It's not, the readers today are different. They are demanding also from the visual
True.
perspective. So I changed the structure. I made sections and highlighting the most important insights. I gave some exercises, and I think the content is better in this way. Yes, better accepted from
I
the
see.
readers, because we are writing books for the readers, not for ourselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, the easiest way is to write
Yeah.
text, but we're not having in mind the readers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to um, to put down the content on a way that is accepted from the reader on the way that you want it. So that's the whole point of
Yeah.
communication, actually. And okay, book is one way of communicating with people. I'm telling
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
students all the time when they are writing like thesis, okay, they can complicate a lot, or they can switch from one topic to another without clear, without red line. Yeah, okay.
Signposting.
Keep in mind the
Yeah.
reader.
Yeah.
The readers, they will
Yeah.
read. This is why you are putting this down, because you want someone to read it. And that perspective is, I had in mind when I wrote the
Yeah.
book. So the book doesn't have a breakthrough because, as I said, the ideas and the topics were gathering inside my head for a long time. Um,
I see. Yeah. And you really do manage to make it so readable. There's a lot of boxes. There's key takeaways. There's things you're going to learn in this chapter, quotations in a different fonts sprinkled throughout. It's really immensely readable. So that's a complete success how you've managed to do that. And a lot of different colors. I mean, I don't know if it comes up on the camera here
mhm.
because I've got there's I can spot at least three different colors on that page
Yeah,
alone.
it's I wanted to
No,
be the
four.
book that you don't read it once and put it away, but it's like a workbook that you can use it
Yeah.
many times when you want to remember something. You
Yeah.
just go and check for quotations. There are a lot of quotations of famous people, or people who, I believe, not necessarily achieved something but realized something during their
Mm,
life, and
yeah.
we should learn from people like that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, of all of the life lessons shared in your book, and there's a lot, so it's a slightly unfair question, but if you could choose one, which one most resonates with you personally, and how has that shaped your
Yeah,
life?
difficult to say. Okay, this thing is the most important, but um, maybe maybe also professional deformation. I'm really not happy when students come and they don't really understand why we're speaking about something, why they are studying. They just ask the question, "Oh, what will be
Mm,
for the exams?" Okay, just try to realize why you are doing something. Have this meaning. Understand that something is useful, is important, is meaningful, not just doing things like on autopilot. And a lot of, I see, I can say the majority of people, they don't know what and why they are doing sometimes. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
so to reflecting this why question, the meaning of life, I think is very important to constantly do that and adjusting your life activities according to that. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and consequently, you will do things that you enjoy doing it instead of just yeah staying at some situations that you don't even like doing. I was in some jobs that I didn't like. So I did something to change because I wanted to do something different. It's not the point of staying there. But a lot of people, they just complained and they stayed there. They were afraid to change something because they were
Mm,
living in this false feeling of being secured. But being in a situation that you are unhappy, that you are passive, this is not safety. This is not safe. This is not safety.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, uh, being flexible, being able to change something. Change is difficult because you're entering unknown world, unknown situation,
Yeah.
and you don't have,
Yeah.
we have habits. Why? Because it's most um, energy consuming way of functioning. But just
Yeah.
living
Yeah.
on habits is quite unfulfilling. And sometimes you need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
enter some new room, new space, new path. And they're saying that if you don't go by the same path day after day, that new neurons grow in your brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, but at the same time, you need to understand what your priorities in life are, what is important for you, what you want to dedicate your time, your energy to, and what is not important. And consequently, you will,
Yeah.
not be so stressed by some minor, unimportant things to you.
Mm. Yeah. And you get into this, don't you, in the very first chapter when you're looking at
Mm.
smart and how all of that can map out. I mean, even
Mm.
just a slightly silly example, really, but it is. It's a new experience. You've encouraged me to look at the camera can.
It's an approach. It's not just this. It's a life perspective, life approach. No growth approach or fixated
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, um,
Yeah.
it changes everything. Changes the perspective of how you see the life, the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Well, let's turn to the confessional booth, as I call it, the quick fire round. Um, so, where shall we start? What's something you love to do when you're not playing or teaching chess?
I love to hang out with people. Yeah, I like to have these conversations, about everything. Now I like to hang hang out with my kids. I have 3-year-old boy, and yeah, there's not much time, but I also like to enjoy like relaxation, having a good food, good drink. So yeah. I'm quite
Yeah.
a person who likes to enjoy life, carpe diem.
Social. Yeah. Yeah. So, you talk about chess personalities, and we touched on this earlier. Maybe this is relevant, when you were playing more over the board games. But what kind of chess personality did you most enjoy playing
Again,
against? If you understand my question, yeah.
well, I think you can see if your opponent is dedicated to crash you, or if he is really already resigned. So, um, of course, it's much nicer to play to the one who doesn't have the wish or is not eager to crash you. But I played, for example, I remember the game against Almira Skripchenko. She sat behind the board. It was a really long time ago. She sat behind the board for 5 minutes the whole game. She just came. She played the move and she went away. It was so annoying to play, really, because it was like, oh, okay, shall I resign now or after? And yeah, I lost that game. But yeah.
Ouch. Yes, indeed. I yeah. I won't tell you that
Yeah.
story now. Another time. So, what book, other than your own, of course, do you recommend most to others? I mean, it could be about chess, but it could just be about life. But which is the one book that you find yourself recommending most to people?
Now, yeah, you found me. um, I'm really more visual type of a person, meaning, auditory. I like to, as I said, speak with experts and watch videos. Um, yeah.
Right.
But okay, book I would say, not chess. I will recommend the book outside the chess, Kahneman, Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
book about
Yeah, that's a
heuristics
good
and
one. That's
biases
yeah.
in thinking process. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a real good one. Um, Do you have any? You were talking about chess players, but before we started recording, chess players can be quite superstitious. Do you have any pre-game rituals, lucky
Um,
charms?
I had it was related. There was a correlation between Lucky Charms and my level of uh, chess playing. So when I was more serious into chess, of course the stress was on a higher level, and I had a ritual, and everything was bothering me. If all the other persons.
Yeah.
So it was a big difference for me if I played the tournament at home or if I went away on a tournament. I didn't like playing tournaments at my hometown. We had a tournament. I also played good there once. I got a GM norm, but there was a lot of distractors around me when I stayed at home. Okay, there were parents, and then things to do
Hmm.
in everyday life. But when you are on a tournament, you're in that chess bubble. You have routine. Okay, waking up, then um, do some relaxation, and then preparing again lunch, relaxation. Just the structure it's important to reduce stress. And I had some lucky charms, like some ring, but then it disappeared with time because it didn't
And then
work all
it
the time. Some
disappeared. I always blame the
yeah,
rings
and
disappearing.
lucky
Yeah,
pencils. Yeah. Yeah.
lucky pencils. I don't know if this
Um,
qualifies, but I understand that. So back to
yeah, and
middle game
just one
part
more thing.
two. Let's get into the
It's
book.
dangerous,
Oh, go
this
on. Sorry.
superstitions. I remember once we were on a team tournament and we had a lucky table for breakfast. But then it's a problem if you come to breakfast and it's taken, what? Don't wanna wait. Yeah, so it's double edged.
Uh, yeah, indeed, indeed. There must be some work done on that, on the psychology of Lucky Charms. You've got a chapter, one of at the start. I think it might be first or second on goal setting and motivating and motivation, and you emphasize the SMART model. Um, a question for you on that. That's SMART. Well, remind me how it goes. It's specific,
Okay.
measurable,
Yeah.
achievable, realistic,
Relevant,
and time bound.
relevant, that is relevant for you, and then
Relevant.
you set
Sorry, I
some
get that.
time schedule, yeah,
Yeah,
time.
time specific or
Hmm.
measurable or something. But how do you personally balance your ambition with being realistic? Because I was putting all of my goals through SMART as I was reading through it, and there was a good six big things that were coming up that I really wanted to invest in, and I was struggling with balancing ambition with having realistic expectations as a dad with limited amount of time and so on. How do
Yeah, I
you
mean,
navigate
it's
that?
being honest toward yourself, and um, being objective in evaluation the situation, your resources, your strengths, your weaknesses. You need to list it down, and don't
Mm,
um, say to yourself, "Oh, I'm the best. I can do that. I can do this." It has to be, realistic. Okay, I have these strengths. I have these weaknesses. What will happen if I got in
yeah.
a bad mood? What will happen if I skip? If something else come up and I will not follow my plan? So you need to um, understand what can be done. This is very difficult. It's an art, I would say, but we need to pay attention
Mm,
to this part because it's so difficult. We often leave it out and we
yeah.
just do things without smartly defined goals, and then we don't have anything to measure, anything to check if we achieved, if we don't did not achieve, why we didn't achieve. These questions just disappear and we just do things. But okay, it's not smart, it's not optimistic, optimal, and
Yeah.
we need to keep in mind that we don't have um, we have limited amount of time on this earth.
Hmm.
What we will do with that time is up to us. It doesn't mean that we
Hmm.
are always have to do something, but you know that we think about time as treasure, as something that is
Yeah.
worth a lot. And it's not the same if we just waste it or we do most of it. And um, yeah, to know what is the situation, what are the potential obstacles, do the SWOT analysis, don't be afraid to check the
Hmm.
results on the way towards the goal. You know, it's
Mm.
not just to measure the final goal, that is not measurable, but the steps, if we're going towards the right direction, if we need to change something on the way. Um, all these things are really important, difficult, and this difficulty should not, make us going away from doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you're saying is bleeding in, I think, to the next chapter. I think it's the chapter afterwards where it's about
Mhm.
self-examination and and being honest with your own strengths and weaknesses. Um, that is yeah. I suppose it's something we'll grow into. The word wisdom is key here. But on just to go into a slightly different area, your chapter on persistence and discipline, you talk about hard work and persistence is essential obviously to success, but what advice would you give to someone who's struggling to stay motivated when faced with repeated setbacks? Could be over the chessboard,
Yeah.
the five losses, or in life, learning a language. What
Mhm.
advice would you give?
I like to mention Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good example of how this curve of progress in comparison to our, let's say, self-confidence, but it can also be, satisfaction or depression state,
Yeah.
looks like. So when you start also playing chess, you learn something and you, okay, now I know how to play chess. So good, I can beat anyone. And then, yeah, you are on this peak of the chart. But then, okay, with time, you realize it's not like this. You will go to play a game and you will be beaten once, be beaten second time, and this curve falls very quickly.
Yeah.
But you need to
Yeah.
understand, okay, that the curve continues, and with expertise, your confidence and your positive feelings will raise, yeah, and it will be more objective and stable, yeah. So you need to understand that the
Mm.
process of progress doesn't go just linearly up, but it's, it's storm. There are waves. When you change openings, you will drop with rating because you're in a
Mm.
process, of going one step back in order to go two step forward. um, so first you need to understand what the progress is. And
Mm.
also the parents, they don't understand it sometimes. They just think, okay, it has to go up, up, up. If you're training, you need to go up all the
Yeah.
time. Not necessarily. Also, okay, you, as we spoke before, you make some goals, but not necessarily the right ones. It might be too difficult, go to high goal. You need to adjust, you need to adjust
Hmm.
strategy. It's a process, it's a life process. It's not, there's no recipe
Yes.
for setting proper goals and just going how to to reach it.
Yeah.
So then understand the power of consistent, even small effort, and the importance of the small steps. If you have the ladder with um, where you step, that steps are 2 meters one from each other, you will not be able to come to the next one. So there has to be small
Hmm.
steps. There's no
Yeah.
other way. There's no magic stick. With complex things in life, there's no magic sticks. Um, you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
goes slow, but you need to enjoy the process itself. The process of training can be very interesting. This is on the trainer as well to make it interesting, to involve,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
observe students, maybe to involve more tournaments, more training. Um, you need to be flexible as a trainer as well, and to understand that you're doing something that you like. Okay, you have to choose something that you like, not what
Yeah.
your parents like, for example. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, again, it's not easy, but you need to remind yourself all the time,
Mm.
understanding how to make it more joyful. Yeah, personalized training,
Yeah.
not just do the same for anyone. um,
Yeah. Yeah. And you've mentioned quite a bit there about what parents can do, and one of the things I've been pondering recently is praising effort
yeah,
rather than result.
essential.
And, and I've heard that that's
Essential.
a really important thing. Do
Yeah, I
you
mean,
think that's
results
yeah,
are consequences to effort.
yeah,
The most
yeah,
you can do is to play good. You cannot, go there and write 0-1. What you can do is to play
yeah,
good. And that is something that you need to
yeah,
work on. And yeah, the parents should praise that. You played a good game, even though that you lose. That's the
mhm,
potential for being a good player. If you won, for someone, it's just important that you win a game, even though if you played a bad chess during the
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Okay, that's very short term. You won that game,
yeah,
so what? Um,
hmm,
I mean,
yeah.
this is.
Someone blunders a piece in a night fork or something like that, and that ends the game. A silly blunder. It's not half as
Yeah, it's
satisfying,
not
is it? Then as
satisfying.
well,
It's
it's
not going anywhere. So, and the elo rating nowadays,
yeah,
I see youngsters, they're very occupied with their elo. I mean, elo is
yeah,
consequence. It will come.
yeah,
It will come if you will play good. But if it comes today,
yeah,
because you just won someone because he overlooked a piece, tomorrow elo will will be gone. It's not, yeah. And
yeah,
also you need to Kramnik said that he plays he finds his motivation in the process itself, not all the successful people, they are enjoying the process, not the results. Even though you would say, okay, if someone is
yeah,
a world champion, he should be focused on the result. No, that's not a,
yeah.
a growth mentality. And also, for example, some
Right,
parents
yeah,
might think that the more you train, the better will become. So just train. It's not for everyone. Even Anand said, for example, that he's training
mm,
in small doses in order to keep the joy in the training itself.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If
Wonderful.
there are a lot of
Yeah,
examples where children were so under stress or so overwhelmed with continuous training that they drop out of chess when they are 18. That's not what we want,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Why? I mean, we are doing
yeah,
things to enjoy in it. What's the point otherwise? I
yeah,
mean, okay,
yeah,
later on you might leave out of chess, but go and ask Carlsen. He said he will not play world champion because he doesn't find motivation. He's not enjoying it.
yeah,
So yeah, that's the
yeah,
first thing.
yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. A lot of wisdom there. I'm going to need to go over and listen to your words again. I think there was a
And
lot there. It's, I mean, you get into handling emotions. I'm just aware of our time, but there's chapters where you talk about handling emotions and high stress situations. You talk a lot about the role of technology in different
Mm.
parts of the book. But I think it would be a good idea now to head
Mhm.
to the end game. Um, and really then it gives people, go get the book and then you can read everything she says about those things there. But do you hold any unconventional or controversial views about chess or chess improvements or popular openings or anything like that?
um, I don't know. No, I don't have. Um, I don't think there's a, yeah, as I said, the magic things, some miracles, some opening that just works.
Yeah,
It's hard, smart work, potential of a person. I don't know, predispositions that might be better or worse, but it's so many factors, that influence how these predispositions will be expressed. That you need to find your own way of doing things. You can see different models, different role models, different inspirations, but at the end, you need to combine all this and find your way, your footprint.
yeah,
All the um,
yeah,
great persons, great chess players, they left their footprint in the history of chess, their style, their approach to the game. I don't
yeah,
know. Tal played against all odds,
mm,
but he was a, you know,
yeah,
he had something that was specifically his. He, yeah,
mm,
succeeded
yeah,
anyway. Yeah.
yeah. And you speak as well of Gary Kasparov as a role model in the book. Is there anybody that's, a complete surprise, you think, to us, who would be a role model for you?
So what's like a surprise?
Yeah, someone who might be an unexpected role
Unexpected.
model for
I
someone
mean,
like you.
I don't see role models just in successful people. Maybe that's something that people would think. Okay, he's successful. We need to do the same. You know how I started to train chess with my father. We had a Karpov Kasparov match at home. The book. And we just went through the games. Of course, I didn't understand anything. And he just said, "Just don't bother. You just play like Kasparov and it will be fine." Yeah, well, it's not so easy to play like Kasparov, right?
No.
So, yeah, it's not easy to copy successful people or do the
Mm,
model that is correct. But I think you need to, mm, also everyone can be a role model for a person because we are different and we can
yeah,
all learn something from each other. You can see, oh,
yeah,
he's doing this thing right, he's doing this thing, so we can learn something for everyday life, for relations, for I like people who are optimistic, who are fighters, for example, because they remind me if sometimes I just feel stressed about some minor thing. Okay, why am I doing this? Look at some other perspective, some perspective of a person who lost a leg in a war, how he approaches life,
yeah,
how
yeah,
mm, optimistically life can be viewed. See the good things, not the bad
yeah,
things. Yeah, we
yeah,
are at least here fortunate enough to be in a situation that actually gives us all the opportunities to live happy lives, but still we
mm,
struggle sometimes. So there are a lot of
yeah,
good examples that we can use to improve our lives. Yeah, to At the end, we need to keep in mind that some things that we are doing to ourselves are not beneficial for us. It's interesting, but we keep
Yeah.
on doing something that does not improve our lives, but it makes it more difficult. Why? There's no logic in it.
Yeah. Facebook doom scrolling would be my one. I do way
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much doom
yeah,
scrolling on
yeah,
Facebook.
yeah.
It's
What
not
keep
good
on
for me.
doing? Okay, yeah,
But
or
yeah,
yeah, just um, yeah, continue to do some bad habits or um, being under stress. Why? What helps? Or
mm,
evaluating, as we spoke, some failure. Why? Does it help me? Is it beneficial for me? No.
mm,
So why am I doing that? No.
yeah,
Okay, what can be beneficial is to take a lesson from it and then let's go on. That's beneficial for me.
yeah,
That will help me for my future. So just think, make this reflection. Is it beneficial? Will it help me for my future life, for my future functioning or not? If it doesn't help, why am I doing that? Why am I bothering myself with
yeah,
some rumination of negative thoughts, depressive thoughts?
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
We have
yeah.
healthy and
There's that
unhealthy
self-awareness piece again.
emotion, experiencing emotions. So for the same situation, we can
Yeah,
put one filter, positive filter or negative filter on our eyes. For the same situation, we can describe on a positive way or as a catastrophe. Same situation, it's up to us
mm,
how we will see it and how it will affect us and our future functioning. It's up to us. So we have to
yeah,
decide,
yeah,
do we
yeah,
want something that is good for us or something that is bad? It's, at the end, it's as simple as that, but it's not so simple because, yeah, we have many,
yeah,
yeah, unconscious, things that are just very powerful wills and, yeah.
yeah.
But the first step is to
S- s-
make reflection, to realize, to make it conscious. Mm.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you just one really controversial question. I mean, if I were to read out the following quote to colleagues in the humanities in the UK, they would be apoplectic, angry that somebody
Mm.
could say such a thing. But I thought you were the ideal person to talk to about it because I've been reading Maria Manakova's really fascinating book, A Zillion Chess and Life Hacks, and there's some
Mm.
overlap in your two books, although hers is she's not pretending to be a
Mm.
psychologist or anything of the kind. But being GM and a professor of psychology, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this because she claims this in A Zillion Chess and Life Hacks. She says, "I agree with the ironic opinion that women and men are actually two different biological species. Men are better organized, and a thought that has started must be finished. In women's heads, there's controlled or uncontrolled chaos, jumping from thought to thought. This is natural and explained by their brain structure. Certainly in some circles, controversial enough, for sure. But then she goes on and states this: chess is a man's game, a logical game, and if a woman wants to become an IM or GM, her main goal is to learn to think like a man." I'd just love to get your thoughts on this because obviously this is incendiary in certain
Yeah,
circles.
it's I don't know why, but it is controversial. I mean, I can imagine that some consequences raise out of
Mm,
the perspective on the gender differences, intelligence differences. So yeah, it is controversial, and yeah, as being psychologist in the psychological circles, it is somehow acceptable that the idea of equality, gender equality, but I believe that we are different. men and women are different. I mean, I have a boy, 3-year-old boy now. He has this innate man things, Um, we are different from the start. We cannot deny that. And I see equality in terms of cherishing these differences equally. So yeah, I actually would agree with Maria that from evolutionary point, yeah, men were hunters. They were devoted to one thing. They needed some kind of aggression, focus on particular goals, going after that bison or whatever. And women were more, taking care of everything else around the house, children. So in this sense, chess is, I mean, not only chess, but all activities that demand focus on one thing, and being very ambitious to achieve the top level, let's say. And we can see that in
Yeah.
chess, um, the best players are men. There are not so many women on the best chess players on the world. But also, even if we take the ratio into account of the number of players, yeah. Um, so game it is a game of conflict that requires kind of struggle, discipline. We want to eliminate the opponent's king. Yeah, at the end. Um, Somehow you prove yourself by winning a game of chess. But okay, we can. Okay, also from the point of view of intelligence, there were studies proving that men are better at visual spatial representations, orientation, strategic, aggressive. They are more uh, dominant, yeah, also by personality traits. Okay, women are better at verbal intelligence, for example. So we are different, but yeah, the problem is because um, we will never know how this social part of engagement of women
Hmm.
influence the quality of women's chess. Yes, so this ratio between, yeah,
Nature
quantity
nurture thing.
quality. Um, so that is something that is for sure important. And I spoke, for example, with Susan Polgar. She said, "Okay, I'm a living proof that we can be as good as men." Yeah, it's
Yeah.
achievable, of course, but what would be the ratio if all would have the same consequences who in the top players? So, but this doesn't mean that we should not encourage women to be involved in chess in
Yeah.
all kind of
Yeah.
activities, because as we spoke so far, chess is very powerful tool to develop different kinds of skills. And of course I can imagine that a certain percentage of women would also be very good or top level in chess. So yeah, I encourage the initiatives of FIDE, of ECU, to involve women to play chess, to encourage them. And Dana Reisnitzer here is
Hmm.
very is doing a great job, yeah, to
Yeah.
include and women in a chess world, yeah. So
Yeah. Something a bit of a wave now, of
yeah.
course, with the Queen's Gambit and being
Hmm.
on Netflix for that wave to really to happen.
Hmm.
There's a lot of momentum there. Now I've got I've got just
Mhm.
two more questions for you to finish off. It's been an absolute joy chatting with you. I'm sorry, but we've already
Yeah,
gone to an hour
time
and
just
10 minutes
flies.
now, but
Yeah,
it's
we could
flown
speak for
by,
hours,
but
huh?
there we are. But what can we expect from you next? Have you got any other chess related books on the horizon, or second editions, or things like that?
I'm struggling with time a bit. Yeah. So with um, I mean, in personal life, I have it's very active now. We are building a house, having small child, and a job, which is demanding by itself. Um, Once I
Mm.
wanted to at least translate the book into Slovenian language, and I really want to do some project or something. I already applied, but I will again for some projects relating um, the connection between chess and this pedagogical value for 21st century skills to but to introduce it in a way that we really measure the progress of the pupils, not just to do something
Oh,
for
yeah.
its sake, but to um, approach it in a scientific way. And okay, I like the research, I like the
Right,
science
right.
in all um, variations. So I want to do some research on chess as well. We are actually doing some interesting studies relating with Faculty of Economics. I'm investigating how quality of sleep affects cognitive functioning and also chess playing, for example.
Mm.
Then with my colleague, we are trying to establish what is different and what is similar in chess positions. Why we are evaluating some positions as similar and or not so similar. So is the dynamic or static factor the one who is more important? So this is really my passion, to combine chess and psychology in many different ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Educational, scientific, cognitive, from cognitive perspective.
yeah,
So I have a lot of ideas, but with time, one after another.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, wonderful. We look forward to that very much. The air of De
Mhm.
Groot
Mhm.
and all of that
Mhm.
earlier work being done. Maybe just to end on a lighter note, what's the
Mhm.
funniest or strangest thing that has ever happened to you while playing chess?
Yeah, well, I played chess for a long time. Yeah, as a, when friend of mine said that I'm a living fossil in chess. 22 years as an Olympiad. It's
Oh,
one of the. It's not a record, but it's
yeah,
top level, I would say. Yeah. So a
yeah.
lot has happened. I don't know. I missed a game because it was played in the morning. So I on the tournament that I played at home, I went for coffee and I just forgot to go. I lost in four moves, for example. I prepared for on a European individual. In the last round, I played bad tournament, and this is what happens. In the last round, I just played one line and one opening line, and I forgot to make one intermediate move, and I just got on c8. I got the queen on c8, and it was made in fourth move. It happens. I
Wow.
prepared for the wrong
Yeah.
pieces. I sat behind the wrong board. Everything happened, but yeah, I don't know if it's funny or is it sad, but okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe. Yes.
yeah. But in
Tragic.
general, what
Yeah.
happens on the tournament stays on the tournament.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What happens in
Yeah.
Vegas stays in Vegas, etc. Yeah, that's awesome. How can people follow you, keep track of your output, or even get chess lessons if you're giving them? Is there a web page that I can
I
point
don't
people
have
to?
my web page. I mean, no, I don't know. A Facebook page is like web page, I think. Yeah, now I'm involved with
Yeah.
some workshops for students and for trainers at European Chess Union Training Commission. I also had some workshops with FIDE Women's Commission. So yeah, I try to be involved in our chess bodies, but um, I don't have private lessons for chess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
fair enough.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
thank you for finding me anyway.
Well, thank you for writing this astonishing book. And that's a wrap for today's second episode of the Chestnut Bookcase. I hope you've enjoyed our dive into Jana Krivec's Improve Your Life by Playing a Game. And remember, whether you're turning life's challenges into a winning endgame, or just trying to remember where you left your car keys, or your knight in that six-ply variation, there's always another strategy to master. If today's episode inspires you to analyze your next move in life or in the 64 squares of a chessboard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a friendly review. After all, nothing says life skills like getting into a passionate debate about a chess
Mm.
opening with a
Yeah.
stranger. I'm Chris Tilling, reminding you to manage your emotions, avoid blunders, and maybe rethink swapping queens too early. See you in the next
Bye
episode.
bye. Thank you, Chris.